Well, I'm very happy and delighted actually to be talking to Juliet Basson. She is the Member of Parliament. She was in the middle of the fray at the Normandien Farm. I had two MPs' names. She was one of them. I expressed a lot of surprise that the Patriotic Alliance was actually endorsing this. Clearly, it hasn't, but let's find out the real story now from Ms. Basson. Thanks for joining us today, Ms. Basson. And just maybe to start at the very beginning, what were you doing in Newcastle in the first place?
4 times a year, our portfolios get sent on oversight. Oversight is decided by the chairperson and the department where we are visiting. So as a portfolio member, we don't have any say in where we go for oversight. We only hear about the town we're going. Only the day of the oversight do we hear what businesses we are going to. So I was there on a labour and employment portfolio oversight as approved by Parliament and my chairperson of my portfolio committee.
Just explain to us, if you would, what oversight means.
So what oversight should mean is to go and have a look at how the departments do the investigation with the businesses. We are not supposed to interact or get involved. We are allowed in the presence of the departments to raise questions as well for the businesses to answer. But the questions are never supposed to be personal or intended in a specific political way. As when we go on oversight, we go as a collective, not as political parties.
Okay, so the issue that has raised here, which is making people in this country and businesses internationally very concerned, was what happened at Normandien Farms. Now, you were there. Just take us through what occurred.
So before we got to the farm, we had a boardroom session. In the boardroom session, there was a whistleblower that complained that Normandien Farm hits people with shambox and they're very hostile on the site. That is hence the decision from the chairperson to visit the farm. When we got there, I was in the second vehicle from the gate. The security didn't want to open the gate. The vehicle before us, the people got out. I'm not sure if it was police or it was private security. They then forced open the gate. When I saw this, I realized this is hostile. This is not okay. This is not what we do. So I reacted totally different. I went for the sterilization process as it is back in close here and it is dangerous. I went to have my feet and my body sterilized before I entered. I greeted the general manager and I went to sit down at reception. I stayed seated there until I had to use the bathroom and I only observed what was going on. I don't really understand why the union was there, as the union doesn't form part of the committee, but they were there nevertheless. From the word go, the atmosphere was extremely hostile. It was not pleasant. I must say the manager at Normandien Farms was friendly. He was courteous. He tried to accommodate everyone. But sir, I think it was very overwhelming as there was hundreds of police and staff members. And it was the biggest oversight I've ever seen. There was members that split up. Some went into the boardroom. Some went to have a walkabout in the factory. I remained seated in reception. As Patriotic Alliance, we stand for illegal businesses, foreign businesses that's not legal in South Africa and that has illegal workers. When I got to this business, I saw South Africans. There was one foreigner that worked there and he had the relevant documentation. So in my eyes, the oversight was concluded. I mean, it's a legal business. They do have regular visits from the departments. They are not being found guilty of anything in the past. I could not understand the hostility. The next moment, production was stopped. The staff was called outside. At this stage, I went to stand in the shade because it was extremely hot. And the private security arrived and there was all chaos that broke out. I then took out my phone. The video you are actually circulating was taken by me. I took out my phone and I started recording because this is not normal behavior. I will speak under correction if I tell you which parties were involved. I'm new to the portfolio, so I don't know everyone personally. Afterwards sent it to my members of parliament on our WhatsApp group, and I said to them, guys, this is what just happened here. I'm very uncomfortable. And they said to me, MP, please be safe. I went to sit in the Fortuner and I did not get involved. When everyone left, I went back inside. I gave my number to the CEO's PA, and I said to her, please, if you guys need any assistance, I don't know what happened here today, but from my side, I will be more than glad to help you. I then came to a surprise that they were sanctioned with a letter for dust masks not being used, and for that, the factory had to close down, which made absolutely no sense. It's a health hazard. It's not a life-threatening hazard. You're not going to die today if you don't wear a dust mask. You might die in the long run, but not today. And it was explained that it's an uncomfortable mask. They do get issued with the dust mask, but the staff prefers not to wear it. Even the issuing of the mask was proven by the manager on site, and they were still closed. I then assisted the lawyer to write a letter to ask for an extension, because you've got the right as a public member to ask for 7 to 30 days to comply with the finding. If no one died on site, or it's not life-threatening right now on site, I understand if you get sanctioned with a letter to close immediately, but not because of a dust mask. I even went so far as to get a blueprint of the letter to request for this. I do understand they did that. I don't know from there. Afterwards, the lawyer did phone me and asked me, would you be willing to testify to what happened? And I said, no problem. My job as a Patriotic Alliance member is not to gain political favor. My job is to stand for the people of South Africa. I know how hard it is for South Africans to have businesses in this country, the red tape we have to adhere to, while foreigners just open a business and they make money in our country. That is why I will never act against a business that is legal, that is compliant, and that is creating jobs for the poor of the poor. In fact, I will do anything in my power to support a business like that, because that is where our country is, in our own hands. I did not partake in any of the events.
Quite a lot of things that you said there, which I think the whole BizNews tribe is going to be very appreciative about. First of all, that you did go through the process of sterilization, because in the current circumstance, anybody who just goes through and does not sterilize in a foot and mouth disease potential area is really, really breaking all kinds of possible laws. What about the rest of the people who were there? Did they also go through that sterilization process?
The vehicle was sterilized, and then as an individual, you also had to sterilize your feet and your clothing, but some of them did not. I cannot with honestly say 100% everyone did so.
So, but you do know that going onto the premises, the company is now saying everybody who was there was trespassing. Clearly, you were there for good intent. Were you aware of that at the time?
No, sir. As far as I was aware, when we get sent on oversight with the portfolio, Parliament approves it, and the arrangements should have been made with the companies. Even the company we went to prior, they were expecting us. It was quite strange for me that there was no indication from the company that there would be an oversight. When the manager on site said to us, you guys are trespassing, I was like, oh my word, because I don't even want to trespass.
And the shambocking, as the whistleblower disclosed or said in the board meeting, was there any evidence of that?
Not that I saw with my own eyes, sir. It was only a statement that was read.
So how do you feel about all of this, having been there and being part of a parliamentary committee now, that it's going to be pretty difficult to, I suppose, engage civilly with the other people who clearly were not feeling the same way that you were about the business?
Sir, I'm proud of the work we did in Newcastle, not at Normandien Farms. Normandien Farms felt personal to me, and I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what's the history between the people in Newcastle. I'm not from Newcastle. But the sweatshop factories we raided was extremely positive. We helped thousands of people in the conditions they are working, in the payment methods, in the circumstances they are working. I am proud of that work that we have done. I am extremely embarrassed about what happened at Normandien Farms. And that is why I left my number and I apologize. Because we need farms like that. We need businesses that incorporates the poor of the poor in our country that doesn't have skills. We are sitting with previously disadvantaged people that needs to come back into the workforce. And farms like Normandien Farm allows that. And the people there, they were so friendly and they were so courteous. The receptionist had her 50th birthday. That poor woman was so frustrated. My heart broke for what happened there, sir. I'm embarrassed about that part.
Just to put the PA's position, and that was from where I'm sitting. I've met with and interviewed and engaged with Gayton McKenzie on numerous occasions, and that's why there were only 2 MPs' badges that I was sent with the images, and yours was one of them, and that's why I was so surprised about that.
I actually sent the image to the CEO to say, this is me. I'm not a fraud, to show you, please, I can help you. I actually took the photo and sent it to his PA.
Well, thank you for sharing this with me. Clearly, I got the wrong end of the stick there, and that was exactly the surprise that I had. Was this: the PA does not stand against business. The PA is for business, but you've actually just confirmed now that you did not act in contrast to the way that what your party believes in. But what about the rest of the guys? Was there anything you could do to have anything else with hindsight that you could have done to have stopped what clearly you say now was an embarrassing situation?
So, no. When we go on oversight, we've got a certain mandate. And like I said, when I saw the gate being broken open, I knew this is not normal. Unfortunately, I'm not the chairperson. I'm not the deputy chairperson. I'm merely a member, a full-time member in the party. So my voice counts very little. I can only help the business that was affected afterwards, legality. But unfortunately, I don't have any rank or standing while the oversight is being conducted.
But the fact that you have spoken out like this in this conversation that we're having today uh, might put you in a very difficult position with the other members of the portfolio committee. Is that a concern for you?
No, sir. I believe in living my life by the truth. I believe in living my life to serve the people, not politics. I always put people before politics. And as Gayton McKenzie made it very clear to me, we are not here for political favor. We are here to support the people of South Africa.
What did you do? What's your background before you got involved in politics?
I was a real estate agent, and from there, I was in politics. That's why it was quite scary when you said I came from nowhere. I started with the ANC. I was an ANC councillor. I was the first white ANC councillor from 1994 that took a ward away from the Democratic Alliance. I then became a member of the mayoral committee, and I also served on Hartsebande district municipality for our local municipality. I've been in politics for 16 years now, sir.
Okay, and why move to the PA?
My municipality started really becoming involved in corruption in Daikli a lot. I couldn't be part of it. I went for an interview at the DA. It was not aligned to how I want to see South Africa progress. I then went for an interview at the Patriotic Alliance, and after the first word in the interview, I said, sign me up. I need to be here. I need to be part of something that wants to grow South Africa for all the races and that caters for everyone, because no race is superior. No person is more important. And that values I found in the Patriotic Alliance. And when I met Gayton McKenzie, I knew this man is a leader. This man needs to prove to himself what he can do for this country. And that is the leadership I need to follow. I don't need to prove to you I'm a good person. I need to prove to me. Because when I die, I stay naked in front of God, not in political clothes. I need to follow a political party that grows me as a person. And I found that in the Patriotic Alliance.
And what did Gayton have to say about all of this? Has he been supportive of the stance that you've taken to speak out against the other members of the Portfolio Committee, as you're doing now?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mackenzie stands for what is true and what is right. As long as you can back your evidence and you've got proof, he will back you 100%. We don't lie, we don't hide, and we don't tell the truth to suit us. The truth remains the same.
So what happens next? The work that you did in Newcastle, and you've spoken about the sweatshops and that's not really an area that we've looked at, but certainly as far as Normandien Farms is concerned, where do you see this going? Because clearly there was abuse, it can't end here. There has to be more to it. How do you see it turning out?
So I heard from Normandien's lawyer that they have engaged with the Speaker of Parliament. I also suggested that they speak to the Speaker of Parliament. First, the lawyer wanted to speak to Gayton Mackenzie, and I said, you can't. Gayton Mackenzie is the Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture. He's not the Labour and Employment Minister. That will put him in breach. So I suggested to please speak to the Speaker of the House as we fall under the Speaker. I hear now that that has been done, and I do hope there's going to be an investigation into this. I never want to go onto an oversight of this nature again, because I don't think Normandien alone felt threatened. At a stage, when I saw weapons and I thought, good Lord, I can't die today. I've got a teenager. He might not like me the whole time, but I want to be part of his life. I also felt threatened and in danger, and I never want to do an oversight like that.
Thank you, Juliet Basson, PA Member of Parliament. I'm Alec Hogg from biznews.com.
Thank you, sir.